So this is the YouTube yacht. It is a boat themed and shaped rental cabin we're in the process of building. Check it out. It's got this awesome spiral staircase inside. We just finished getting this welded up in the previous videos. Pretty cool. And today initially I'd planned on working on that deck because as you can see it's a beautiful day, but instead we're going to do something just a little different, but it makes sense and I'll explain why. So a big step we were hoping to have done by now, but got pushed back just because the way this winter weather's been, is getting the primary trenched in so we can get electric back to the boat. So the electric goes from, well, right where that propane tank is. There's a stake transformer there over to our meter and our disconnect, and the primary will run through all of this. We've got some backfill material staged and ready. Now you can see it's still a little soupy back here, but this will tell you how much water is in the soil because this trench was full and you can see it slowly starting to perk out, which means this is slowly getting rid of its water. And even though there is just a little bit of rain in the forecast, for the most part, it's looking pretty dry. So we're hoping here in the next week or two it dries out enough we can actually get this trench blasted through and get that electric in. So to do that, so what we're going to do is put a little TLC into the old Caterpillar 304, oil change, some hydraulic oil top off, replace the bottom glass that's missing, a bracket that I think is just the coolest thing I've ever seen for an excavator. We're going to try to get that installed, and a couple other odds and ends, so this thing is just ready to go whenever we get that break in the weather. Because the false optimism in me is just feeling it, you know? Step one is going to be get this cleaned up a little bit though, because she's been through the ringer this winter. We're not pressure washing anything because she's going right back into some messy stuff. But I need to at least get this cleaned off on the top of the track frame and obviously get that all cleaned off. Spade shovel or track shovel works well. I lost mine. And by lost, I mean I probably ran over it at some point and then buried it. I'll just use the hammer cleaner at her. Yeah, that's efficient. Guys, I want to talk to you about your car insurance. This one just wants to steal your food when you're not looking. Come here. Yes. There's a good boobers. Alright, I need you to take this and clean the tracks. Can one of you clean the tracks, please? Still need to clean the inside of the cab just a little bit, but while we're sitting here, and since this stuff has dried up significantly since we dumped it, I'm going to go ahead and reshape and just kind of, you know, like a secondary polish on what we got going on here. Remember, the idea is this gives us enough room for that single axle Ford dump truck we got to fix. We can back down this ramp and take dirt to the back side of the chicken coop. That looks fine. At least what we can get done with the 304. The rest of it, let's polish that up with the road drag on the 755. You know she's pretty caked up when you got to use the hammer to scrape her loose. See if I can get this out of there. There we go. So the mat being dirty isn't the problem. It's everything that works its way underneath. And you get stuff like this, well, glass of course, and it'll get muddy and it'll sit there and it'll sit on that metal. And I think honestly it's dry enough. I'm just gonna get the shop vac and also, last time we peeked in the old battery box here, she didn't look too great either. Don't worry, this works, it's fine. Oh yeah, she's got her own little collection going on. What are you doing? Hi. She just comes out of nowhere. Okay. Everything is certainly better than what it was, which is pretty much the extent of my goal anytime. I'm not a perfectionist. I'm just a improvementist. In a rare moment though, we're going above and beyond my standards. I'm gonna get a bucket of soap and water. Why? This is just way in excess of what we like to do, but we're doing it. Oh, she's not perfect by any means, but she is certainly a lot better. Let's get her tracked over to the shop so we can... Could you pick up the handle, please? Thank you. Let's get her over to the shop so we can do the stuff that actually matters. We're gonna do the oil change first, and out of habit, well, actually, I've never changed oil on this machine. I don't know where the drain plug is, but I'm gonna guess somewhere on the bottom. Is that it right there? Huh? So it looks like it's got one of those little valves on it. That's what I'm guessing. Not a lot of finger room in there. Something like that. But I can just hook it and go. There we go. Look at that. It's been a few hours since that oil's been changed. It's not glittery though, so that's good. All right, well that drains. Don't forget the Loctite. I'd use red just to be safe. All right, we still draining? Oh yeah, we're still draining. While that drains, well, that sight glass tells me we're probably pretty low. Oh geez, Mike, what are we doing? Wouldn't that be something? No, we're kidding, everything's fine. Okay, The only thing about this sight glass I don't like is a lot of times they'll tell you the boom position, because depending on where the cylinder is, determines how much fluid is actually in the tank or in the cylinder itself. Now, this one doesn't have that diagram. It's probably in the owner's manual, but I don't have it, so we'll just, we're pretty warm right now because we've been running a little bit this morning. So we'll just go for that one. Good clean funnel. I mean, it was just a couple gallons low. It's not good. I do get questions about this sometime, and I'll talk about it, and I think it'll make sense. But this is an extremely expensive part of the machine. And to protect this extremely expensive part of the machine, Caterpillar put just the most robust metal they could on this hood cover. I don't like it. I hate it. I mean, in theory, like a wall, you're going to be protected by your weights, right? I get that. But we do a lot of clearing with this, and what caught this was a tree stump. And there's a good chance that when we're clearing, a tree comes and smacks this, or we rotate, and something we've got on a pile could poke through that and cost me a lot of money. So I do have a plan for this at some point. It involves heavier metal. That's the idea, the whole thing. We're going to rebuild the whole thing. The plan is to do that this summer, and it's going to be a couple $100, probably a few $100, but there's a lot more than a few $100 in that compartment, so it seems worthwhile to me. Give that a pull, make sure she's locked good. That feels good. I like it. Pretty convenient oil fill, no complaints there. Running 15W40. Again, that's what Mike ran in it, so we're just, I mean, we could change it, but it's fine. Everything's fine. Well, she's good on the stick. I'll fire it up, let it run for just a little bit so it can cycle some oil all the way through. Then we'll recheck it. And while we're waiting, we can move on to the next thing. Next step is installing the bottom glass that we broke out when we had a root smack it down at the World Headquarters project. So I've actually had this bottom glass for a long time. I can't lie to you about that. Remember the last video we did fixing this thing up? The one where we made the template to go get the glass made at a glass shop? I walked over to the house when we were done, and on the porch was a package with this inside and some other goodies. In the comment section, there's a fellow that's named That Parts Guy, and that parts guy works for Bennett Supply down in South Carolina. Can't remember which location. He sent a letter and everything, and he sent this glass to replace, and it's been sitting in the shop that long. We just haven't had a chance to get it in. Absolutely terrifying. So we're not fitting right on here, but it's not the bottom glass, it's the top glass of the frame. People noticed a few new cracks. I will tell you that some of these were already here when we got it, and if you understand cracks, cracks just kind of grow on cracks as they go. It's hard to get them to stop, but you'll see they're right where that handle goes. They come out from there and just kind of spider web up. It's been like that for probably a month or so, but I keep the door up so you probably haven't noticed. One major issue is this bracket here is bent, which causes that roller to be bent, which holds this corner of the door in, which means we're putting a lot of force on this handle to try to get it to close, which means we're compounding our crack problem. Yep. I think I can just slide it out the bottom like that. Yep. Oh, Where's the roller? It kind of stayed put. That's fine. You can see she's a little... I think we'll just go put her in the press and see if we can't flatten her out. So what I'm gonna need you to do is pretend that I didn't forget to hit record and that you just watched a really cool time lapse of this bracket getting straightened out. Okay? Okay. I'm glad we did that. She does look good though. Huh? Not bad. That would have been something. All right. It does latch though now. See? See how it latches easier? Now that bracket's not holding that frame back. Very minimal effort on the close, and now it fits on that weather stripping pretty good. I'm gonna have to get pick up some of that I don't know, probably any kind of silicone will work if I take out weather stripping off, put some silicone in it, and then put it back down on there to hold it good. But I mean, it is what it is at this point. Anyway, this is without a doubt what I think is gonna be the best attachment I've put on this rig yet. When you just look at her, it's a shovel holder or whatever you want. Whatever handle fits in that little spot, it's gonna hold it. De-handled shovels, I don't know, but anything you want. Got it off Amazon, but it's made in the USA. Supposedly it's stainless. It looks stainless. Paid a pretty penny for it, but I'm pretty excited about it. I looked at a lot of different places on this machine to put a shovel. I thought about just a couple tacking her in there on the side of the boom, but I feel like I'm just gonna tear up my shovel whenever I'm doing land clearing, trees smacking the boom and stuff. There's lots of marks that say things hit here frequently. And there's really no good place over here because of the batteries. And the back just seems like a terrible option for obvious reasons. So honestly, what I'm thinking right up here. Now I know I just said we're gonna redo this hood, and that is the case. But in the meantime, at least test out this location, and if we like it, well, we'll just swap it over to whatever we do in the future on this hood. Neil Kof says the difference between an amateur and professional fabricator is a professional bevels his holes. And I'd like to challenge that. Clearly an amateur can do it too. That's fancy, huh? Come on, look at that. That's phenomenal. I'll probably pick myself up a half-handled, de-handle spade shovel for the track shovel to keep with the machine. But that's perfect. I love it. If I feel like she's rubbing a little bit too much air, we can just slide her forward. But I mean, she's in there pretty good. That's good. She's tucked away. She's well within the radius. You don't have to worry about this sticking out and snagging it on something. One last step, and then we're going to go do some dirt work. Look at my little buddy, huh? Just hanging out. That's phenomenal. There's part of a Ford Ranger. Might as well pluck this little, yeah, it looks like a little sassafras, and these briars, these little guys, and these little guys. And we'll start pulling some dirt wherever we can get it and shoving it around. Well, basically I'm just going to start peeling some of that dirt and shoving stuff down here. It's not a whole heck of a lot, but we just want to level it up from where it comes out from the boat, and then have enough that we can kind of a mowable bank over here on the side. I'm getting that dirt. I don't know if you can tell, there's a little bit of a high spot right here. I'm going to set you up right here, and I'm going to kind of show you how I can tell whenever I'm just sitting in there. But just right through there, there's just a touch of a high spot. But you'll see when I come across, eventually I'll just break just a little bit. And you can obviously feel that in the machine. But you guys should be able to see it on camera too. So this is looking awesome. Sidewalk will come out kind of like this, and then meander up to where it needs to go to. But that's, I mean, that's rough grade. That's it right there. I love it. We gotta get all that trash picked up someday, and some trash bags. Then that pipe needs to go out at least one more length, and then we can roll that dirt on across there. So the next thing, I'm gonna go ahead and start pulling some of this back. It gets pulled back and slung up over here, and that sidewalk's gonna kind of go down around like mid-bank and then around. We're trying to keep the slope on that grade on that sidewalk as gentle as possible. There are codes for that. Fun fact though, you can also just call it a hiking trail, and then there's less codes. So it might just be a nice concrete hiking trail. Let's see how the math works out. Rolling back pretty good. Just have a little bit left between us and the little walkway, and we'll start kind of working this down with the blade and seeing what we end up with. But it's good. It's getting there. There you go, you're getting the idea. Just a little bit of a bench, just big enough for a sidewalk to come down through here. Now we still need quite a bit more material down on this end to make it work, but that's fine, because on the other side of the dock, once we move the lift, I've got quite a bit of material that needs to come out of there yet. Keeping up with the machine just fine, so that's great. A little progress on the build with some random dirt work. Next video will either be working on the interior walls, or we'll be outside working on the deck. Just depends what the weather's doing. That's it. Magical. I need to get that dirt off there. Wish I had a shovel handy, huh? Yeah, cool. Oh yeah. Love it.